Hi kids. So today we're going to be doing a little cooking here in my kitchen at home. And we're making cornbread. And it's made from dried corn that grew on the ear. And then when it was very dry, all the yellow kernels were taken off the ear of corn and they were dried. And then they were ground up. And so these were ground at Blue Slope Country Farm Museum in Franklin, Connecticut with the old-fashioned grinder. And it's ground into a powder. You can buy cornmeal at the grocery store in a canister and make cornbread yourself. And the recipe's right on that container if you purchase your cornbread. Mine was a special gift, and so I'm going to share it with you. Golden cornbread recipe. And this is what it has for ingredients. I want to make sure I have them all and I'm ready. 1 cup of the cornmeal mix, which is just ground corn. 1 cup of sifted flour. 1/4 cup of sugar. I have a little bit left in a bag. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Here it is, my calumet powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. My salt is here. 1 egg, 1 cup of milk, and 1/4 cup of my vegetable oil. So I don't have an egg and milk out. And then I'm going to mix them all in my bowl here. I have a mixing spoon and a scraper. The measuring spoons that I'll use for the dry ingredients, and my measuring cup for the milk and oil and the dry goods. So I'm going to measure the dry first, but it says to sift together the cornmeal, flour, sugar, baking soda, and salt. And the first thing I'm going to do before I do that is, because it's allergy season, I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be right back. Soap and water and ABC, 1, 2, 3. Lots of pollen on the wind today out there. So nice clean hands, ready to go. Sift together cornmeal, flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. Then add the egg, milk, and oil. Blend until all the ingredients are just mixed, so moist and wet all over, no dry spots. Bake in a greased 8-inch square pan. So I have my 8-inch square pan here. And I'm going to grease it with the Pam cooking spray. So it doesn't, the cornbread doesn't stick to the metal pan and then you can't get it out and it makes a big mess. And we're going to bake it at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And it'll be nice gold color then. And so I need to warm up that oven. Let me turn that on. Set it to bake into 400 degrees. And the rack is in the right place. And here we go. Now, I think I'll get the pan ready first. I always spray this by my sink because it kind of goes in the air, as you can see. I want to get the corners really well. That way it won't stick. Now the pan is ready. So I'm done with this product. The first dry ingredient is the cup of cornmeal. So I'm opening up my little Ziploc bag. I'm going to measure over the bowl in case I spill. This is a 1 cup measuring cup. And I want it level, not heaped up and not less than a cup. So one way of telling if it's level is if you can scrape across the top. So there's 1 cup of cornmeal and into the bowl it goes. I have just a little bit left, maybe for some fried chicken or something at some point. Now I'm going to keep this up here on my little cookie canister tractor. I need 1 cup of my all-purpose sifted flour. Brand new bag of flour. So I'm going to go right in here and get a cup of flour. Again, a level cup, not more and not less. Knock off the extra in the bag. 1 cup of flour. And into the big giant measuring cup that goes. I like this 8-cup measure as a mixing bowl. Done with that. 1/4 cup of sugar. let me show you. There's lines on my cup. Come a little closer. So here's a quarter of a cup, a half a cup, and 3/4 of a cup. I need a quarter cup of sugar. It's just a little sugar to go in this recipe, and it'll spread out over 8 pieces of cornbread or more. Whoops, I poured a whole bunch in there. The line shows on the inside too, so I can look in and make sure that I've got just the right amount. So now I have the plain dry sugar, and that can go in. And I'm done with the sugar. A half a teaspoon of salt. So I have my measuring spoons, and I'm going to look at the one that says half a teaspoon. Here we go. And I have my salt, and I'm going to pour it into the spoon. And that's level across the top as well, and in that goes. And now the next ingredient I need is 4 teaspoons of the baking powder. This is what makes our bread rise up and be fluffy. And cornbread, because the grain itself is pretty heavy, it takes quite a bit to make it rise up and be a bit fluffy. So this is a tablespoon. I'm having a hard time reading these. See if I have another ounce of table sauce. These are easier to read. 1 teaspoon. This container has a lid on it that makes the measuring easy. Switch hands here. I can scoop a spoonful up, and though it's overflowing, I just scrape it off on that half lid, and I get my level spoonful. And the recipe, again, I'm checking, says 4 of these teaspoonfuls of baking powder. 2, help me count these, okay? 3, and number 4. And that's our baking powder. Now, the last 2 ingredients are the 1 egg and the 1 cup of milk. One egg. I'm going to crack it into the cup just in case a piece of shell gets in it. And then I'm going to set my shells together like this. If you've seen my seed planting, I'm planting baby seeds in eggshells, so I'm keeping them in the fridge so they don't stink until they're planted. And now 1 cup of milk. This is regular whole milk. You could use skim milk as well. And so I'm just double checking the recipe, 1 cup of milk. So first I'm going to put the egg in. Here it goes. The big yellow yolk. And now 1 cup of milk, that's right to the tippity top. And pouring that in. Now all this while I've been measuring, my oven is preheating. I'll put my dirty cup in the sink because I'm done measuring everything. Put my milk away to keep it fresh. Now it's time to stir the cornbread. It doesn't take a whole lot to scrape the edge to get all the dry goods off. Scrape again. I can already smell the cornbread. Now, there's 2 ways I like cornbread. First, when it's right out of the oven hot with butter on it and it melts in, it's delicious that way. I love it to go along with a beef stew or a hot soup. And the other way I like it is in the morning, I like to put it on a plate, cut a square of it in half, and put maple syrup on it, and that's delicious too. And that's an old New England standard food. So I'm going to clean off my spoon with my scraper. I'm done with this. Get every little bit in the pan because we want every bite, not waste any. So now the spoon is pretty clear. That can go in the sink for when I do the dishes after. And I'm going to put all this batter, batter is the word for the liquid mixed bread, into our 8 by 8 inch pan. Now, if you used the wrong size pan, it would cook too soon and burn. You'd have to change the time because it would be thinner. It wouldn't matter if you did this in a round pan that was an 8 inch round. That would be fine. Some people used to do it in little cast iron pans that were shaped like little sticks of corn. I always liked cornbread that was in the corn stick shape. I'm scraping out every last delicious bit. Now, just to remind myself, I'm looking at the recipe and it says 20 to 25 minutes. So I've preheated my oven and I know it's hot enough and my pan is full and ready. I'm going to pop that in the oven. And the next thing I'm going to do is set the timer. And I'm going to set it for 21 minutes. And this just has a bell that rings at the end to remind me to get it out of there so I don't burn it. And then later this evening, we're going to have hot cornbread with melted butter. Delicious. So thanks for watching. Try cooking it.